Alright, boom. So welcome world to another episode of Yatta Debates link session with myself, Yatta, and my co-host.
Yes, I'm here finally, Shelly. What's up, guys?
Yeah, and we are at 212 Center Street at Classic Razor Sharp with here my barbers Starr and Ja.
How you guys doing?
How you fellas doing today? It's a lot of craziness going on that we want to touch bases on, but
yeah.
I want to know how y'all having a blessed day today?
Oh, I'm so blessed, man. I can't complain.
Ja, yourself?
Yes, sir. I got up and I seen the end of it, so I'm blessed.
So I'm going to come out the gate right now and ask the question that everybody wants to know: is the world ending? Is the world ending? Because we got coronavirus plague, wildfires, flooding, carbon, all this global
warming. And they
warming.
done took Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe lost Kobe this year. It seems like just in like this short amount of time, a ton of shit has been going on.
Facts.
So, is this the 2012 that we were expecting back then? Is this happening today?
Maybe not the world as we know it, but the system of things that we've lived under.
Mm-hmm.
The society, the people that control, who have been controlling us, the government and their system of the world and how it's been programmed to be.
The coders in the Matrix, you mean?
Yeah, all those.
The coder in the
people.
Matrix.
Some of us have to be Neo and see past what we see now, especially with like the coronavirus. This is just them trying to put fear in us. And it's gonna get, it's about to get real.
And that's
real soon.
And that's something that I want
Real soon.
I want to touch the topic on, because I want, and Ja, let me ask you this, right? So it's just like, even if we say that like the virus isn't that serious as it necessarily needs to be, they say like, all right, it's just it's the equivalent of the flu in severity. Just make sure you follow the same precaution. But the fact that like there's so much hype around it, does it make it that much more serious? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because we start to see the reaction and start to see people react, does that make it more serious now? Like, does that really turn into this pandemic?
Yes. We live in an environment where philosophies of one's perception is his reality. And when you have garnered the influence of the masses, now such perception or presentation thereof becomes a reality. And people begin to act on the idea, therefore bringing the idea into physical fruition. So yes, there's a seriousness in its nature, because akin to the flu, influenza has been modified and mutated over the last 7 decades. Initially, when the influenza hit, for the first 30 years, it had the same hysteria as
the coronavirus.
We're dealing with the coronavirus with the 19th strand. So the 19th strand, meaning that the 18 preceding it all had their effect. However, as a virus mutates, it becomes applicable to others who would normally be immune to it.
And that's why I want to know, how the hell do we get to 19 strands of corona? It's like the 19th level of corona. Like, how did we get there?
I just skipped a couple levels.
Like,
yeah,
I could
like to one.
Because like they said, it's been around for a while, but like this, like I had, like, personally, I'm gonna say I was under a rock. Like, I haven't heard about it until recently.
Well, we've been familiarized with. I myself was an LP and a licensed practical nurse for 5.5 years, so I'm familiar with the activity of viral and bacterial infections. A viral infection is really made outside the source of nature. So people can take different cultures of different, not exact diseases, but different cultures of different bacterias, and then create a disease. Then the bacteria can become an infection to the body, and it will become viral because it will spread throughout. It's an active bacterial infection that becomes viral within the body. Scientists, our our government has an institution in Fort Detrick, Maryland, that creates these so-called diseases.
Why?
We've been dealing with, well, it's for population control.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say they do it for population control. To control the masses. Like, you got to think, there's so many people out here in this world, like, they have to have a way to keep everybody under wraps. There's more people than there are government officials and things like that.
But that's crazy, because Allah, the supreme being who created the planet, if we need the population control, he wouldn't allow us to grow the way the planet has been growing, or people have been growing.
I don't know, because, you know, in those historical texts, they did do house cleanings, like plagues and stuff like that. Whenever things got a little too hectic for people, like, they would kill them out.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
well, when we look at a plague, let's look at historically. Let's look at a plague. A plague was described as such because it was a pandemic from a certain ailment. We look at the Black Plague. They had that amongst them because of their lack of knowledge in civility. So from their activity of uncleanliness, their negligence for proper health, these things occurred. People began dying off, and they naturally applied the name a plague. Then they would, if you couldn't explain the plague in totality, you would give blame to an outside source. Back then it was witchcraft, sorcery. Those who believed in God or heard or knew of God would blame it as a punishment by God. However, it has a scientific and it has a physical source, activity.
But when we talk about things about, like, you know, this being like a form of, like, quote unquote population control, like how accurate do we feel that is? Like, is this just something that's just like, is this like it goes on like scripted, or is it just something that's just like it has to naturally occur, like every so often, like this is just something that like she said, it kind of needs to happen to kind of, you know, not wipe the slate clean, but
kind of like level it off.
Yeah, like it's like taking off like a little part of the extra sentence just so we can make room for other things.
I made a post the other day on Facebook. The post said, we have designer jeans, designer handbags, designer clothes, designer drugs, designer diseases. This is not by happenstance. This is by careful, wicked, methodical planning. This has been predicted because those who had an air of that plan 30, 40 years ago shared such through writings and interviews over the last 30, 40 years. However, those that control the masses through the influence of media, which is supposed to be, you know, one truth to another, from truth from one source to another, through a vehicle. The media has always controlled how people think.
Yeah, seriously.
I often use the example of the power of the media with one of our most well-noted figures in the history of the world, Jesus. Jesus rode into Jerusalem on Wednesday, and when he came to town, he was celebrated. Hosanna, Hosanna, praise thee, my Lord. By Friday afternoon, the people that control the influence of the people had those people saying, crucify, kill him. Now, you was just praising me Wednesday. Now, Friday afternoon, y'all telling them to kill him.
Kill him. Put the knife in his back.
Now, how did that happen so quickly? And who devised the influence? As I was speaking to my brother earlier, whenever we have a situation like this, we must look at both sides of the outcome. You have a detriment and you have a benefit. Who benefits from the function and now the present state of the coronavirus?
Big pharma.
Pharmaceutical companies. Or we'll just put them all in the same house and say the corporate world or the banking world.
Yeah, because it all boils back down to business, right?
The banking world. And if you look at simplistic activities, which is work. Can't go to work soon. Social order, quarantine, so you can't move around with real freedom, and soon medical treatment. They have a lottery going on right now, a contest to who's going to win the lottery. Which big major pharmaceutical company is going to have the fastest vaccine for, quote unquote, the new flu.
Gotcha.
In the late 80s.
And hold on, John, before you go on there, because I got a question now. I kind of want to like get to Starr.
True.
And I want to go into this. It's just like, so Starr, and let me ask you this, like, you know, we talk about like, in a sense, controlling the masses, right? And like there being like this kind of plot or this narrative. And this is a little controversial, but I want, like, do humans in society at some level need some form of control in the form of organization? I'm not talking about like manipulation and like really trying to like really manipulate the way you think, but in some sort of organized fashion that the population does need to be controlled in some aspects.
No, I think because Allah has given us free will. We need to be controlled. We wouldn't have got that. He would have took us and made us do whatever we wanted to do from birth till death. But you have free will to make these choices and decide what you want to do in life. So I think no.
But and this is why and this is something else that I think about, and I kind of believe this, and feel free to chip in this. I feel like anytime that you enter into any kind of like partnership, situationship, friendship, relationship, you give up a part of your freedom in the sense of a greater good. Like, let's think about it like this.
I agree.
Instead of moving independently, right? When you come together as a community, you take away some of your own personal desires for the greater good of the community. So let's say we're in a situation where somebody needs to farm, somebody needs to learn how to do agriculture. And that's a task that, you know, you take initiative on, right? You're actually, like, you're working for the benefit of the community. You're sacrificing something like your own personal time or your own personal desires or whatever for the benefit of community. And that's what I mean, like, in a certain level of control. Like, you know, do you feel like in that aspect that it's good?
No.
No?
No.
But I mean, but it happens. Like, even when you go into like a relationship, you know, you always have to go into a mindset that you going into this, that you have to consider this other person's perspective, points of view, beliefs, and you have to respect those if you want this thing to work.
Well, that's true. However, speaking to the question directly, social order is necessary to live in a civilized fashion. But social order should be based on righteous law. The law is natural when it's righteous. The unnatural, the unrighteous instruction, the unrighteous activity creates anarchy and mayhem. So there you fall out of social order because you're now acting uncivilized, one without a true knowledge of self, one without discipline to order, and is living a beastful way of life while in pursuit of gain. So we live in an environment, and you use the word community. Community means common unity. We have no common unity in one class in America, while the common unity has been used by the other class in America to suppress the activity or the possibility of common unity with the other class of America.
But isn't that just like historical? Like, we always see that, like, you know, historically there's always like a population at the top of the chain. Like, whether it's monarchies, oligarchies, aristocracies, it's just like, this is just something, and this is something that I read in like a philosophy book. They said a true democracy cannot exist unless that the masses are significantly like they use the word poor, or poorer than the top percent. Like,
right. Well, look at the word democracy, and is that really amending or applicable to our reality? See, we first must address who's presenting such to us. You said history.
Yeah.
That history is very limited and it's biased because the people that wrote the history made an excerpt of the history their total story without telling the complete story. So if you write the book of history to fit your favor in your mission, how does it benefit those who are not a part of your mission or for your favor? So when you say there has to be a top percent, that philosophy is illogical to a civilized nation. Now when you want to deal with a monarchy for existence, born in that, you inherit that, but are you deserving of that? Do you qualify to handle and wield that? Nah. According to history, that's been proven wrong time and time and time again, because that's outside of the laws of nature, the laws of righteousness.
So let me ask this question around the room, and I'm gonna start off with Shelly, just in the gentleman fashion. What does, in your opinion, a true freedom look like, in like in your own personal opinion?
True freedom?
Yeah, cause you know we always get asked that question, like, you know, what's freedom, what's liberty, what's it like, what it like what is freedom in your own personal opinion in this like truest aspect?
Is to live life without limits, but we won't ever be able to do that in this society because we're ruled by money, greed, like all different types of things. Like you can't live a true freedom here because no matter what, you're going to be bound to something, whether it's work, whether it's a home, whether it's a job, like anything. Like you're bound, like you're going to be bound to something. So you're never free. You have so many obligations in this society.
Starr?
Let's say
like a situation where you could say like, okay, we are like free or truly free, or we are experiencing freedom.
Well, true freedom would be us having true freedom would be without having a hidden hand controlling what we eat, what we drink, how we dress, the marketing, all those things. You're always gonna have to work, even if you don't work for somebody. You still gotta work for yourself. So work will be a part of your everyday life. You know, they say a man that don't work don't eat.
Yeah.
Even if it's growing your own groceries and hunting your own food, you always have to work. But true freedom is when you make those choices on your own, and there's not somebody saying, "Oh, you gotta eat this, you gotta eat that, you gotta buy my food." When you're true life freedom, you have your own food, hospital, justice and equality, without somebody hand controlling you. That's true freedom to me.
And Jock, like what is the term or the phrase or ideal of freedom in your perspective?
Freedom has a definition. Freedom is a key element to your physical existence. It's a prerequisite for being a human being. Freedom has been taken from the masses, and I'll say it directly. We live in an environment where there's a certain people that control it, and we call them white people. White people has been a poison to the planet. Now, I can say that freely because it's truth. And if a person contests it, show me history that's otherwise. And when we have to be honest with ourselves, and that's a problem with us, because in order to achieve freedom, which we've never been given, freedom is the activity of unlimited thought, founded for the purpose of unlimited production. When you have freedom, there's an activity, as I said before, in your nature that allows you to do what's right. We have not been influenced or allowed, directed, or shaped to do what's right in this environment. You become a product of your environment, regardless of how good you may want to be. You have to do something bad to the bad in order to establish your good. The bad, no matter how bad they want to be, they have to deceive those who are good in order to succeed in their bad. So freedom is the liberty of addressing what's right and denying what's wrong. If you're not allowed to honestly address what's right, then you'll never fix what's wrong. So when I say Freedom is an element of life that's a necessity for the human being to live in a civil fashion. Until then, you can have the confusion, the frustration, and the ignorance of people functioning under the guise or the deception of being free when in reality you're not. The coronavirus is an excellent example, because the next move that the coronavirus is making to give mandated testing and vaccination for the human family of the planet Earth.
Isn't it weird how convenient how the coronavirus came out as soon as the census came out? Like, I just thought about that. Like, I was just, because I got the census paper today, so I was like,
put those pieces together.
I was like, it's so convenient how the census is like, you got to make sure you count. Actually, there's a sign outside of here when I walked in that says, make sure you get counted. And I'm just like, how convenient it is that now there's a virus that is forcing people, especially you've seen how maybe just a couple months ago the anti-vax people were going really hard about not vaccinating their kids, saying they're not sending their kids to school. And now I think by April or May, they're going to say that vaccines are mandatory. The Department of Health is going to issue a statement that's going to say all vaccines are mandatory for all children unless you don't want your children to go to school. They'll probably fine you and all types of stuff to force you into getting vaccines. I think this is more so a way of forcing people because there are a lot more people who don't vaccinate their children, who don't put their children into the systems of that.
Yeah, I don't get the flu
and
shot.
then now they're going to force you to do that because they're like, you see guys, you guys all got the flu because you didn't get the flu shot, and you guys got coronavirus because you're not vaccinating yourselves.
That's what the...
you got corona because you ain't get the flu shot.
I'm telling
senator
you.
And the governor was saying yesterday, and the Congress and the House, the Senate, they had a hearing yesterday that was directed at the pharmaceutical companies to produce a vaccination that wouldn't cost anything, to produce testing that wouldn't cost anything. Well, along with this speech and the presentation for such, the government, the senator, she said, we're exploring the possibilities of mandating testing for all. Will you be able to provide testing free or up under the current structure of their insurance carriers? And of course the pharmaceutical companies had a hesitation to it because the key is to make money. Just think, if we have a 4-week quarantine, everyone that has an established and stable life shall now become unstable. And the only people that benefit from that is those who benefit from placing those in debt. If you live in a home, you work, let's say you pay a $1,500 mortgage, pay another $200 in insurance, you have a $500 car note, you have a $300 insurance cost for the car, you have food expenditures, you have miscellaneous activities that still exist that you still owe for. Now the 4 weeks or the month out of your work and routine of work and your activity of income, now that's been suspended, but your debt still accrued. And now those who you're indebted to get to gain because now you owe. And when you owe, you're at the mercy of your debtor.
So with this, Starr, basically like what I'm hearing is just like this coronavirus is going to go on as long as it serves the financial interests of the people at the top. And then once they feel like, okay, we've exploited this epidemic, let's move on to the next one. Let's start a war. I'm playing right there.
It's true.
With them, man, you never know.
You never know. You could be speaking the truth.
Like, bro,
I'll be playing on here.
I mean, like, you know, sometimes you watch a movie like, damn, that's crazy. What did that really happen?
And then it happens.
It's a movie with Jackie Chan. I can't think of the name of it, but it was this bug they had. It was a water strider, and they were talking about they had put a disease in the bug, and you know, like the mosquito, it would travel around the planet and infect people. And then we get the Zika virus. It's crazy. Like, this stuff is like...
Yeah. Hollywood be knowing sometimes.
It's not that they know. It's like, think about it. They release this information. Like, whatever we get is watered down from what they really want us to know. Like, everything we get is information that they are ready to release to us. Like, a lot of the information that they give to us they've already like been like, all right, well, they're not gonna do anything because we're 10 steps ahead of you now.
And they hit you with the hint to the hint.
Yeah, like they're like,
yeah. See, the sister, she's right on point. Hollywood is used to familiarize the mind with the future planned activities of the government to the people. One thing we haven't addressed, hey, if none of the billionaires are stressed, why are the people so stressed? The billionaires, do they have a different type of blood type? Do they have a different type of immune system? Like how are they exempt from the same worry? How are they exempt from the same concern? That's easily to be answered. You know why? Because you're the guys that implemented the disease to begin with. See? So we have to speak, as I say, honestly, and not evade discussing the hidden hand. Because while we're taking the opportunity to have this format, we're creating a platform of influence. And those that should be influenced, truth should be spoken to power through our influence. Because many may not know, don't understand, or don't have the testicular fortitude in order to say it. But when you speak truth, truth cannot be denied only by a liar. So at the end of the day, we're responsible for ourselves, first and foremost. And if we had common unity communities, there would be a resistance already to the enforcement of such. And that's not happening because we don't have common unity. We're followers. I ask people this all the time. You know, Donald Trump is the president. And I've watched black and white America complain 1,000,000 miles a minute in the last 3 years. However, I haven't seen Chinese Americans, I haven't seen Japanese Americans, the Hindi Americans, none of them guys complaining about anything. Because they have common unity. They have unity amongst themselves in order to handle any administration, any situation that's in the government. Why? Because the government respects their function in the society. You bring value to yourself by functioning as a unit. A unit cannot be denied. Now, one person, as that disease that black people have, which is called individualism, we're the only people on the planet that speak individualistically of ourselves, independently, without prompt. And there's no other living creature on the planet that thinks, functions, or even speaks individualistically of themselves. See, you've never seen just one snowflake. Never seen one blade of grass. See? Never seen one leaf on a tree. See? Never seen that. Because everything that's living, that has life, belongs to a collective. That's why black people get offended when white people say, you people. See?
It's true.
But when they say you people, because naturally they think as a collective. Oh, I don't care, you're black. And regardless of whatever you do, whenever you go out there, the white man's going to treat you just like any other black man. See, we can say that so easily, yet when it comes to each other, we speak individual. Hey, you know, that's that nigga. See? When in reality, we have to think in a unified fashion. So for us to be discussing this, we have to speak at it from an honest standpoint, first of all. Then scientifically give credence and explanation to what we understand and what we see.
Oh, man. So we gave y'all a lot to think about here on today's Yatta Debates link session. Like, yes, I want y'all to go back and really like check this out and ask yourself these questions. One, is the world ending or is it propaganda?
It's propaganda.
Propaganda.
It'll be over by the summertime. But a lot will change.
Propaganda precedes the what? Execution of the downfall of another.
Yep.
See? So propaganda must be used first in order to quell resistance in the mind of others. See, and once, like, you know, you can take a man that's, as Malcolm said, the media is the most powerful tool on the planet because it can make an innocent man look guilty or a man of guilt look innocent. Now we looking at, like I said, we don't want to evade the guilty. We know who the guilty are because the guilty are the ones that are suggestive of the solutions to what they have already created. Hence Hollywood.
Yep.
So make sure y'all go back and y'all think about these questions. And as always, if you like this Yatta Debates, this was a good one. We dropped some gems on y'all.
Yeah.
Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, because we definitely gotta have these guys back on the show for another link session.
Without a doubt.
Until next time, we here at 212 Center Street, Classic Razor Sharp with Starr and Josh.
Yes, sir.
Shelly and myself.
I'm here.
As always, until next time.